Hey guys, how are you? This is Kathy Barnett. Behind me, we are at, we are actually at Mount Vernon, President George Washington's home, his estate. And right behind me, right back there in that little brown home there, is one of the slave cabins. It's just a replica because those slave cabins were usually extremely shanty. And I have some photos up here as well for you guys. Dirt floors, usually 6 to 8 people in this little space. Very, very small, very, very confined. I heard some white people behind me talking about, just the high and mightiness of how we revere President George Washington. And today overall has been a very emotional day. We went to one of the first places we went to, even before we went to George Washington's memorial to see his tomb, him and Martha's tomb. We went to see the memorial that they've built for the slaves. And we just sat there for a very long time. My children cried, I cried, just in thinking about our country, thinking mostly about the human lives, the hopelessness of slavery. And as I talk to my children, the fact that, slavery was a hopeless business. It was extremely hopeless. And yet they held on, not so much for themselves, but for their own posterity, for their children's children's children. And as I explained to my children, we are their children. We are the children's children that they looked at. And I earnestly believe one of the best things that we can do is to live honorably. I think that's the best payment, the best way we can honor those slaves who came before us as black people, is to live an honorable life, to take advantage of the things that they could not have even fully articulated words in order to hope for. And yet we have every opportunity in this country to live a self-determined life. And I believe that is the best way that we can repay those who have come before us, black and white, but specifically to those blacks who came and were treated in the most inhumane way. But as the white people were standing behind me talking about the high and mightiness of how we revere President Washington, I would think it to myself, we truly have to have a balanced view of history. We have to balance history off. We cannot cut off our nose despite our face. This is my country, and we cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater, as my grandmother used to say. We have to be balanced in our understanding of history, in the ugliness of history, and the lessons we are to learn from history, because our nation has come a long way from these formative years. And we have to always keep that balanced view as we look at anything in our lives, right? Blessings. Share. Bye.